Here we go. Episode 509. 509. No Laugh Track podcast here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. My name is Justin Severson. I'm sitting right across from Derek Hughes, stand-up magician Derek Hughes, who has done this podcast a number of times, and each time is a gem.
Feel very at home.
Yeah, you should.
You know, your energy spiked right after we started there. We were hanging in the living room, and suddenly we're on stage. You're a good man. Thank you for bringing the energy. I'll match it, Justin. I'll match it.
You're not peaking on a Thursday afternoon, energy wise?
No, not after doing morning radio. Come on.
True.
Up early.
Let's get this right out of the way. Naps, pro or con?
Pro,
right?
Pro.
Yeah.
But you can't nap too long. 90-minute max.
Whoa.
Is that too long?
Whoa.
Is that a full night's sleep for you?
I mean, no, but that's a hell of a nap.
That's a full recharge for me. That's the battery. The battery goes to full.
Can you get by with a 20?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to do that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think I've mastered the 20, although sometimes the 20 turns into 40. Of like 20 good, 40, 2 snoozes.
If you're lucky.
In any case, welcome back to Acme Comedy Company.
It's so nice to be back.
You're what we say. You're pretty much your home club here.
It is my home club,
absolutely.
100%.
What first time you were on stage here?
Oh my God! I mean, that was an open mic. No, it wasn't an open mic. Yes, it was. It was an open mic. I remember my joke. It was, what if they had open mics for other jobs? You know, like, hey, Minneapolis Police Department presents open badge night. It was not a good joke. Lewis did not start booking me based off my appearance on that one open mic. But then it was Nick Swartz.
You should have tried that like in 2020 when things were going pretty haywire here in Minneapolis. That one might have gone well.
Yeah. Well,
criticizing the police.
Oh
but in
God.
any case.
Yeah. It was also Fairview Southdale presents Open Scalpel Night. And I think the gag was, that would help with, the healthcare issue, getting, if you had free surgeries by amateurs. Yeah. It was, and then Nick Swartzen called me. He was like, hey, HBO's doing a contest. And it was for the HBO Comedy Festival. And this was, before Nick Swartzen was Nick Swartzen.
Yeah.
And I picked him up. We carpooled down, and we were both selected to be one of the 10 finalists that night. Frank Caliendo had driven in from Milwaukee, and Nick won that night and went on to showcase at Zanies in Chicago. And then he went to the festival. And I remember the booker, Lisa Lingang, had reached out to Frank and me and said, hey, I can't pay your way, but I'd love for you to showcase for producers at Zanies. So Nick and I actually went out together for that showcase. And then, he's the one who made it through to the finish line.
And now has a date at Treasure Island Casino coming up this
Certainly
fall.
does.
I assume you've already bought tickets or hit him up for tickets. You always seem to go see Nick and all your buddies.
I do go see Nick, and I here's a question. Do you buy tickets for your friends' shows? Because I get yelled at. I get yelled at for buying tickets.
From the talent.
From the talent.
And then they go, dude, hit me up. I want to get you tickets.
What are you doing? That's so weird. That's weird you're buying tickets. And I'm like, well, I don't think it's weird because, when I'm doing a show, I'm focused on other things. I don't want to manage a guest list, and I can buy a ticket right now. I knock on wood. I can afford to go see a friend's show.
Yeah.
So, how about you? Comps? No comps?
I mean, if we want to start opening up our financials to each other, I'll be asking for comps for the rest of my life.
I see.
The way it looks
Copy
right
that.
now.
Copy that. Understood. Yeah.
Brandon and I will say recently, we hit up a friend of ours, a comedian friend of ours, Sean Patton, to go see him perform when he opened for David Cross.
Oh, cool.
In St. Paul a few months ago.
Great.
And I do not regret that whatsoever.
No.
I think Sean was happy to give us tickets. We got to hang out afterwards. We met David Cross.
You met
at
David
one point,
Cross.
At one point, I was one-on-one with him for at least 5 minutes at Allery's Bar in St. Paul, Minnesota, which is now closing and rebranding or something.
Man.
In any case, yes. So
awesome.
That's
one vote for comps.
Gareth Reynolds, who has just been announced that he's coming back to
camera,
Acme.
is it? Please.
Gareth Reynolds is coming back to Acme later this year. I found out a couple days before Bert Kreischer was at Target Center earlier this year that Gareth was opening for him. and I messaged Gareth Reynolds via Instagram and said, "Hey, I know it's last second. I saw your opening. If you have tickets." So you're asking me? Yeah, I definitely ask for the freebies, and I don't feel. But also, I'm not a comedian, so I don't think they're expecting me, or no one's saying either way, like, "Oh no, you should buy or don't buy." Like, it's not a problem. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I was happy to go. I was happy to hit up the free tickets. I was happy to go, and it was awesome. And I'll get to thank Gareth in person when he's here later this year. So,
Well, how nice.
yeah.
I'll comp you to my show. No problem. Easy.
I have paid to go see shows at Acme. It's been a long time.
You've paid to see shows at Acme?
Yeah, like when Louis C.K. was here a few years ago,
Okay,
and they
sure.
throw tickets on for $50, and
Sure.
it's like I'm not. Hey, try to give me a free ticket to the $50
No.
show. No, I'm not doing that. I pay for
Yeah.
those. I pay
Brandon,
for
were
those.
there comps to that? Any comps to that show?
Well, I don't think he's back there
Yeah,
anymore.
no.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
He's shaking his head no from the office.
I
He can
bought
hear you.
tickets to both nights.
See?
Yeah. Just to make sure I could go. And I was in town for one, and I gave the other tickets away.
Oh,
You know what I loved about that
wasn't
show?
To me, but thanks.
It wasn't. Well, you bought tickets. I'm so sorry. What was great about that show was locking up your phone. And I haven't been to a ton of shows where that happens, but at Louis C.K. show here, they locked your phone up, right?
Yeah,
they put it in
yeah,
a little magnetic bag. You couldn't get to it. And I was here about 25 minutes before curtain, so through the door, phone locked up, and I was kind of back by the sound booth there. And I remember I used to come here as a kid. I get my mom to sneak me in when it was David Wood's Rib Tickler. It was a comedy magic club. I know we've talked about this.
Yeah.
But the club is the same layout. It's the same setup. It's kind of some of the same chairs, I think. And it was incredible to watch this room in a time machine because the entire audience for 20 minutes before the show started was having conversations. They were in a room together, excited for the same show, not checking their Insta, not posting, not texting, like it was amazing. And the scary thing was how many, I became very aware of how many times, and it was embarrassingly a lot of times that I had the impulse to do something with my phone. Check a thing, do a thing, take a note. I don't know what. It's just, this has become such a ubiquitous part of our being. And I don't know if I like it.
I don't like it. Just yesterday, I was looking at Instagram, closed it up because nothing was, getting those little rewards in my brain from looking at it. And within 2 seconds of closing it, whoop, opened it right back up and looked at the exact same thing. How does my brain not register that you were just looking at this exact same app? It was instinctively. That's no good. That's no good. We need to talk about. So you probably told me before, but that first night here when you went on stage, how much magic was in that act?
Oh, the open mic night?
Yeah.
The open mic night, it was just jokes. It was just, 3 minutes. It was just a few jokes.
You were already practicing magic
Oh,
at
100%,
that point because you
man.
started when you were a kid. You got much
Absolutely.
younger.
And I'll tell you, when I went on stage, I remember I had a deck of cards in my pocket. And when there was a couple years where I was really focusing on straight stand up just to work that muscle and develop that voice and try to find out how I speak funny on stage.
Sure.
And so no magic, because I knew the magic. I got my 10,000 hours doing table-to-table magic at TGI Fridays for a decade, I knew that. And the stand-up was the nut to crack. But I always had a deck of cards in my back pocket, like my parachute, right? Like,
sure.
Like if the stand-up went south, I knew I was hedged. And I don't have any memories of actually turning to the cards.
Okay.
During that time.
Do you remember the first time you got laughs mixing the two, magic and comedy?
Yes. It was on this stage, and it was a joke about football and sports, and it was like three beats to the joke, and I remember being so nervous. I was like, okay, I'm doing my magic show, but I'm gonna, after the card thing and before the newspaper thing, I'll do the joke. And I'm like, here comes the joke. And I was so freaked out. And then I do the joke. Here's the joke. And it got a great laugh. And I panicked and rushed to the trick, and then finished the show. And backstage, I was like, maybe I'm funny, like it was adrenaline. It was amazing.
I bet.
Because it feels so stand up so naked, it's just raw. It's you, your words, your thoughts, and it's immediate. The litmus test, it's an immediate result. It shows up on the, you dip the paper with the joke, and then either they laugh or they do not. And if it's a good joke, they pretty much laugh unanimously, and if it's a bad joke, they pretty much don't laugh unanimously. So it's really it's walking the edge.
How much are you performing right now in late spring? Well, now we're in summer, early summer of 2023. How much are you performing?
I'm performing consistently right now, and it's, I'm going to say, thankfully a little light, right? Because August, I dive in my August, September, October is, I was just talking to Charlene, and she's like, I was telling the boys, we probably won't see Daddy much. I have a nice, I'm very thankful, and I pray I don't get COVID, because that would fuck everything up, at least for a couple weeks in the middle of that.
Yeah.
But I've got a nice schedule.
Are you still doing colleges? Is that a thing?
Yep, it's a mix of colleges, corporates, and I'm going to do a bunch of Air Force bases. That's sort of the meat of my fall, end of summer, fall tour.
Air Force bases.
I know.
Is it, what's any significance of?
It's they have, infrastructure to bring entertainment, because families live on these bases. It's not just military guys, but they have whole grocery stores, cities, fast food, entertainment, movie theaters. Like, people live there, and they're kind of isolated.
Oh, sure.
And so I feel fortunate that I get to be what brings smiles to their faces.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it was
do you spend a night or two in the barracks or whatever they call them?
I will stay on site.
Yeah.
But it's pretty rigorous. It's back to back. It's a tight schedule.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I know.
Bring me up in a plane. Do you ask for that?
No, I did wonder. Like, so do I pay for airfare or? But no, I do have to book my travel.
Funny. So I want you to share with something you mentioned before we started recording is about a magic school camp that you attended.
Oh yeah.
And how is that current to you now?
Well, I'm glad you brought this up. No, when I was 12, I'd been into magic for a couple years, and I went to a YMCA camp just right over across the river, Hudson, Camp St. Croix. And my boys are going there next week, sleepaway camp. But a kid in my cabin, John Hess, all I had was like magic from a magic kit. I had like almost trinket props, like simple stuff. And this guy it was like a military ammo box, and in it he had a handful of like professional caliber magic tricks, like, whoa, like next level stuff. And he told me about a magic shop in downtown Minneapolis called Eagle Magic. So John Hess and I started meeting every Saturday we could, and hanging out all afternoon at a Eagle Magic shop. And then one weekend he comes in, he's like, there's a magic camp sponsored by Tannen's Magic Shop in New York City, and we got to go. And I begged my mom to, use whatever college savings we had, like this is important. This is my career, 12 years old. But she did it. I can't believe it, but I talked her into letting me go for 1 week. And at that time, it was in Long Island at LaSalle Academy. And that was, you might remember LaSalle Academy was a military academy that had advertisements in the back of comic books. Like, it was this sprawling campus. And for 1 week, professional magicians were the counselors, and every night there was a professional show. Tony Spina, who was running Tannen's Magic Shop at the time, they did a big convention in the fall, so they would audition acts by having them perform for free at the camp to then get booked at the convention. It was a perfect storm.
Yeah.
But I saw more magic in that week than I'd seen my entire life. And a guy named Richard Sanders, an amazing magician from Canada, he was my counselor. and he taught me a 4-coin, 4-card matrix. This is a routine that actually was invented by a Minnesota magician named Al Schneider. Incredible sleight of hand miracle. And he taught me a simple handling of it. And up until then, I thought all magic tricks were done with, tricky props, things that had a secret flap or a thing, And this was just coins and cards. And it was better than anything I'd seen with a trick flap or, dingus. And I was like, wow. And that was the game changer. Cut to, I'm 18 at a magic convention in Ohio, and I run into these guys, Steve Cohen and Mark Sisher, and they're like, hey, we went to Tannen's Magic Camp. I went to Tannen's Magic Camp. They go, we go back as counselors. I'm like, what? You can go back as a counselor? So 18, I started going back every summer I could and teaching magic tricks to young aspiring magicians. And this last week, I went back. It was Tannen's Magic Camp last week, and this year I brought my sons. And it was a gamble because they're not into it, but they really had a good time, and they're practicing shuffling, and they know a couple tricks. And
what do you mean by they're not into it?
Like I've never pushed them to be like, Benny my youngest has done the school talent show a number of times, and I help him. I will produce a magic trick for him to perform, and he's crushed. He's amazing. He's awesome. But I caught him once with some books checked out from the library, working on a sleight of hand thing with a pencil and a coin. And I was like, oh, that's cool. But those books were returned, and, they're into Fortnite and doing other stuff.
Sure.
But they like magic. So the gamble was, it's a week. And these kids were like me, into it. These kids are so into it and focused, and some of them are incredibly accomplished. And I was just nervous, if they would just get bored, day 2, too much magic, because it's nonstop. I mean, there's no horseback riding, there's no canoeing. It's magic camp.
Any girls?
There are. Out of 110 campers, there was about 20 young women that are into magic now.
And this is co-ed camping at the...
It's co-ed camping.
Now we're talking.
They're in a separate dorm. Well, listen, but co-ed
now
camping...
we're talking.
You know what, Justin? Irrelevant, because remember, it's a magic camp. So, if you are a boy, you don't know what a girl is. You're like, what's her French drop look like? That's a coin trick. But yeah, it was... and it's nice. It is nice that the numbers of female campers is increasing over time. It used to be none.
I'd imagine.
There's not very female magicians that have risen to prominence.
Yeah.
And it's nothing genetic. It's just, I think the field, it's been pretty male centric.
Sure.
You kind of picture a magician, you think of the female factor, and that is getting cut in half or holding the tray, something like that. Which actually, often a magician's assistant is they're just as skilled and important to the magic happening as the frontman magician, but you'd never know it. And so no glory.
Yeah.
I'm
very proud of you. I'm happy for you for able to do that with your kids. That's awesome.
It was so cool.
That's really
and
awesome.
They say they want to go back, but again, no pressure. I wouldn't take it personal. Part of it was like, are they going to figure out how? Maybe they'll find out I'm not as cool as maybe they think I am. Because it's like everyone's doing magic.
Right.
It's not so unique at magic camp.
I wonder if there's any in sports, it'll be like, oh, the coach's kid. Oh, sure, you get to be on the first line because you're the coach's kid. You're and they're the magician's kids. Like, oh, I wonder if they're gonna get picked first to do demonstrations because teacher knows Derek.
I did. I asked them actually, before we went. I'm like, hey, do you guys want me to keep your identity as my son's? Do you not want me to announce it? Do you want to keep it secret? Do you want me to let people know? Where's your vibe? And they're like, either way. They were totally cool about it. They didn't have any feelings about it. They did tend to, they stayed in their own dorm room together, and they kind of ate their meals together. They were in separate classes, but they really seemed to stay in their comfort zone together. And I don't think they felt like outsiders. I wondered if it wasn't partially due to COVID. Socialization. I haven't seen them in school interacting with groups of kids. This was the first time where I was like with them for lengths of time
Sure.
in large groups. And, you know, they were kind of in their pod. And they were okay with it. You know, it wasn't like stressful for them and they didn't feel like excluded, but it was like, wow, are they not as proficient at making friends or bridging a gap with strangers as I and you were when we were growing up?
Right.
You know,
That's a
partially because of this stuff. They don't have phones yet, but they certainly have digital lives.
congratulations on that.
No phones yet, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Edward turned 12 at camp.
I'm sure
and,
I'm sure that's a battle you are not done fighting. I would
They haven't
imagine.
asked yet. They haven't asked.
That's good.
But my Charlene is talking about it maybe for safety, you know, like, because we don't have home phones anymore. Like, if we're out and about, how do you, I don't know, it's a whole,
We'll just get them chipped.
yeah, get them chipped.
Just get them chipped.
Yeah, like that Black Mirror where you can actually chip them and then see on your phone what they see and what they're doing.
Yeah. No, I don't want that. That's
I don't
too
want
much.
that.
I don't want that.
No,
my
thank
my
you.
oldest are teenagers now. I don't want to see what
You do not.
they're seeing. I'm change the facts to protect
Channel
Dad.
change. Channel change.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Exactly. You did a dry bar special.
I did a dry bar special.
That's relatively new, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
It just came out in the spring. I don't know how to promote anything to save my life, so but it's out there and it's I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
It was the first round of taping they did after as COVID was, you know, after COVID, but so there was a socially distanced live audience. I do think like having, maybe I could have held out for a more full room, you know, more. I'm totally happy with the taping and it went very nice. It's just, you know, I didn't necessarily feel like we were blowing the roof off the place,
Interesting.
you know. But again, it was a very nice crowd. But because the room was, imagine, you know, tables spread out at a distance, like it was.
I got to be honest. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I watched several of the clips that are posted on YouTube.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't notice.
No, you don't. You really don't. You really don't.
I mean, they showed the audience. I know there was an audience participation. She
Absolutely,
came up
absolutely. No, it was great. I have no complaints about it. You know, I feel fat. I feel fat in it. You know, like I went shopping like the week before. I wish I had hired a stylist or something because, you know, I thought black, so I'm wearing this black sweater under a jacket.
Sure.
But like, it's too tight. You know, I'm like, I feel like my hair is too slicked back. You know, it's all vanity. Something gets released. You know, I don't post a lot. You know, that's to my disadvantage in this day and age.
I guess, yeah, right.
Yeah, I guess. I do kind of have this belief that live performance is a live performance. You go see a live performance, and so I haven't done many, you know, things that have been taped and then broadcast.
I mean, I was surprised to see that you did one of these. Like, interesting. Like, I don't.
I'm a big fan of yes and.
Sure.
You know, in life, you know, I remember doing improv at Dudley Riggs. I was part of their, their Sunday Company improv group, sort of their, you know, that's the JV improvisers back in the day.
Sure.
Not main stage, but the Sunday Company. And but learning improv and that rule of yes and in improv, where you get a suggestion, you say yes and you add. And I remember walking down Hennepin, and I might have been a little high, but I was like, oh, that's like a life philosophy, you know? And it really is. So a friend of mine, had a relationship with Dry Bar. He books a lot of clean acts. He's a corporate booker, and he had a couple comics do it and was able to bridge that opportunity. And I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Why not? And it's pretty cool.
Did you get to come up with the title for it?
I did. They asked, what would you like to call it? And since it's a Mormon-based, production company, I was like, how about Magician on a Mission?
It's pretty good.
It's not bad, right?
Yeah, it's
and I
pretty
asked them, I was like, would the audience base be offended by that? And they're like, we don't think so at all. And I was like, awesome.
Oh, there you go. Did you read any of the comments on some of that?
I don't read anything.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you all the bad ones. No.
Please.
I want to read you a couple of the comments.
Yeah, please.
These are
okay,
safe
wow.
ones.
Okay, I'm actually nervous.
Okay, well, this is the one. I will just say that this
He
is.
looks fat.
This is a.
Why is this fat magician?
So, I mean, you already brought it up. These are all comments about what you look like. No, come on, Derek. No, they.
I did have one guy from Sweden reach out directly because he wanted to know where I got that awesome jacket, and I totally turned him on. It's Aviator Nation. It's same as this hoodie. Like it's a brand out in California. But so that was kind of cool. Anyways, what are these comments? Let's hear these comments.
This was based on this was on a clip of you. It's one you do where it's a member of the audience comes up and participates.
Okay.
That's all people need to know. So one of the comments here is definitely planned. LOL. People are so deceived. If he tells you it's not planned, definitely believe him. Wink emoji.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. Does that make you feel? Because obviously you know and I know that it's not. You haven't spoken to this person in the
100%.
audience that is going to help and participate. There's no secret behind that. You haven't talked to this person in advance. And the fact that anyone thinks that, you have to take that as a compliment every time, right?
I do. I will tell you, I don't use any stooges or plants, and I never have. Never is someone interacting with me in my work as a magician where they're going, wow, and they're totally in on it. They're just as amazed as anybody watching.
Yeah.
There's no fake amazement. But you can't. And a huge compliment, and it happens all the time where people will come up and go, was everybody in on it? Like they just can't wrap their head around what happening. But here's a story. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm consulting producer on a hidden camera magic show called The Carbonaro Effect. Okay. And so we're shooting one day, and Michael Carbonaro, the star of the show, we're in a nail salon, and the woman that gets seated next to him, she's the mark. She doesn't know there's hidden cameras. She doesn't know she's on a TV show. And at one point she looks over and she's like, "Oh, you kind of look like that Michael Carbonaro." And Michael got really good at deflecting this. Like he was like, "Oh, who's that?" She's like, "Oh, he's got a TV show. What is it?" She's like, "Oh, it's like a hidden camera magic show where he does impossible things and people are amazed." He's like, "Oh, that sounds pretty cool." She's like, "Yeah, but everyone's a paid actor. It's all bullshit." And he's like, "Oh, really?" She's like, "Yeah." 5 minutes later, he's cooking a corn dog in his foot bath, like making lunch, and she's freaking out. And then he's like, "Surprise, you're on the Carbonaro Effect." Here's the moment. So how do you feel about everyone being an actor? And she goes, "Well, I'm not, but everyone else is." Justin, if someone has a belief, earthquake, Armageddon,
Flat Earth.
yeah, nothing will shake that initial belief if they've locked in and hunkered down. I think it's human nature, and it's sad, and I think it's at the root of our divide right now, because we've decided that blue states or red states, like we hunkered down on our belief, and then good luck changing it.
Yeah.
Even in the face of all the evidence in the world, she was there, but everyone else is fake. It's wild, right?
Amazing. There also has to be a feeling, I guess this is what you're saying, is like, no, I'm that good. Like, you can believe.
What am I going to do? Argue with? No. Because of that
You're
experience.
tricked because I'm that good. Don't you just want to yell that in somebody's face sometimes? Like, you're tricked because I'm that good.
No one's confronted me directly, like in any aggressive way. Like, you're bullshit. It's all fake.
Yeah.
And it's all fake. I mean, they're not planted,
Right.
but I've practiced deception and creating a dual reality so people believe they have the perception of impossible things happening.
I saw a video. I know it's several years old, but I don't think we talked about it. It was with your boy David Blaine with Michael Jordan, and he's trying to do a card trick. And then Jordan has the cards behind his back, and part of it is supposed to be David Blaine goes, "All right, shuffle them," and he hands it back, and and then Jordan's like, "Oh, I tried to get one over on you. I didn't shuffle them." And of course, the trick still works.
Sure.
Yeah, whether Jordan, did what he was instructed to do it, but with participation or not. Have you seen this at all?
I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't seen that bit.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've experienced that where people try to like sabotage when they're called as a participant.
Yeah, I want to throw this out there. Like my persona and my point of view comes from a place of joy and love and fun. So I don't get a lot of like, I'm gonna fuck with this guy, you know, like, because I'm not trying to make you believe that I play with that notion in my show. I find a skeptic in my audience during my show, but we have fun, you know.
You're so good at that, Derek. Your enthusiasm of when you're just throughout your whole show, your enthusiasm is awesome, and then the way you handle the person who the skeptic, I'm always impressed. I think
thanks,
that's just
man.
awesome. I really
Thank
do.
you. And that so I feel like by not being, you know, I have very little ego, right?
Sure.
And so I feel like that diffuses any attempt to pull one over.
Sure.
And if sometimes people, yeah, sure, there's like a real hard logic-minded human, and they want to, and I'll note it. I'll go, wow, you're really shuffling those cards, you know, and you know, I'll yes and that,
Yeah.
and go down that rabbit hole and see where it ends. And I may have to improvise a new ending at times, you
Sure.
know.
Okay.
Very rarely happens, though.
Yeah. One more thing we have to talk about is that. So I did play softball for a bar in St. Paul that had to close down for a year or two ago because they were filming a movie on location at the Spot Bar.
Hold on.
In St. Paul.
You play ball for the Spot Bar?
Yes.
You guys, this is the most amazing
Yeah.
Midwest bar ever.
Uh-huh.
Incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you know what the Spot is.
Yeah, I do know the Spot Bar because that's where Hamish Linkletter and Lily Raby, husband and wife, artists, actors, directors, shot their movie Downtown Owl, which just premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival in New York City, where I walked the red carpet. And I have pictures on Getty Images. It felt so fancy. I went to the premiere of this film. I scored a small role as one of the locals in this adaptation of a Chuck Klosterman novel called Downtown Owl. It was so cool.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, I really thought, you know, after 20 years in LA, and, you know, 10 of those years was really 100% acting.
Yeah.
And then I had babies, so I started hitting the road more, and then really became personal appearance was the main flow. And that's what allowed me to move back to Minnesota, because really at that point all I needed was an airport.
Sure.
But I did think like, okay, well, acting's done, you know, and then to have a feature film come through and score a nice, fun role, and then to see it out there. I don't know where they'll get, you know, I don't know if it'll do like theaters.
As of now, it's not available anywhere.
Right. It's just doing the festival circuit, I think.
Okay.
And it premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival. I know that Hamish developed the script in part with Sundance, like he was part of the Sundance program. So I thought it was for sure going to premiere at Sundance. So I was surprised. They came out, I performed the Magic Castle in March for Tannen's Magic Camp Week, where all the performers at the Magic Castle were alumni of this camp that we're speaking of.
Awesome.
And I had Hamish and Lily out as my guests one night for the show, and that's where they told me it's going to be at the Tribeca Film Festival, and it's locked, and it's good.
Where did you film whatever scene you're in? Or?
I'm at the bar. All my stuff's at the bar.
So you are at the Spot?
100%. The whole time.
I love it. You gotta be kidding me, dude.
Incredible. Yeah, I loved it. And they added, they really didn't change much, but they added a couple of things.
A little bit.
It's set in the 80s.
I know what it looked like before, and I
Yeah.
know what it looks like now. They changed a little bit.
Yeah. But what a cool bar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that your hang?
I mean, well, I live closer to Camp St. Croix in Hudson, Wisconsin now than I do to the Spot in St. Paul.
Sure.
And I'm usually really busy Thursday nights, as I was telling you before we recorded this, so I haven't been making it to either play or hang with the softball guys. I was going to go tonight, but because of the 4th of July holiday, there's no game this week. So
I see.
And that would have been, go to the game and then go have some beers at the Spot afterwards.
What a nice hang.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
great over there. Yeah. We really like that place.
Yeah. My scenes, Vanessa Hudgens was on set a lot
Yes.
during that run, and Henry Golding, who's a fantastic actor from Crazy Rich Asians, but Vanessa choreographed a little dance scene that she and Lily do, and all the local townsmen are kind of a part. They're peripheral to the dance, and
There's something on the wall now there that's autographed by some of the cast members.
Oh, sure, okay.
Including her. I wasn't looking for your name. Maybe it's on there. I don't know.
I didn't sign anything.
Okay.
So, no.
Son of a gun.
Yeah, it was super cool. I was just like, wow. Yes, and
Character name is?
well,
Is it like Bagger number 1, or do we have a name?
No, that's Kent Jones.
Kent Jones.
Kent Jones
Okay.
is how I'm in the. It's a great. Can I kind of kill it? Can I ruin it? Because it's a nice scene with me and Lily. She's come to this small town, and she's come from Wisconsin and Milwaukee, which is a bigger town than downtown Owl, and she's meeting the locals, and she's in the bar for the first time, and a local comes up and is very awkward and invites her without saying his name or introducing himself, invites her to go see E.T., the new movie that's at the cinema, and she's like, "Are you asking me on a date without telling me your name? Yeah, get out of here." He walks away. I approach her, and I'm like, I got to apologize for Bullcalf. And Bullcalf is, she's like, why you call him Bullcalf? Well, look at him. He looks like a tiny little bull calf. And then we find out everybody has a nickname, And she's like, oh, that's funny. You don't have a nickname. You're the only one without a nickname. And I'm like, oh, gosh, I never really thought of that. Then Vanessa Hudgens comes in, and she's like, get away from her, brother killer. And she's like, brother killer? She's like, what did he say? His name was Kent Jones? And I'm like, good night. And I walk away. So I guess I'm brother killer. And to my credit, in the novel, I didn't actually kill my brother, but I almost killed my brother. So the nickname stuck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Had you read the book before? You hadn't read the book.
I hadn't read the book until I was auditioning. And when I found out I was auditioning, I immediately read the book.
That book and every other book he read, just to be like, I'm the biggest fan.
No, I was just focusing on the most important book at hand. I left Sex, Drugs, and Cocoa Puffs for another day. But it was actually really helpful. And the audition process was they hired a lot of LA actors to come in and Ed Harris is in the film.
Yeah,
fantastic.
That's right.
But they also did the incredible pool of talent here in town, and Lynn Blumenthal, incredible casting director, who, if there's ever a feature film that's been shot in Minnesota, Lynn Blumenthal is behind all the local talent that you see on screen. She's such a champion and supporter. And but I read for 4 of the roles, and I was cast initially as one, and then got another call. No, different one. And I'm so happy I got Kent Jones. I think it's just a fantastic scene. There was a second scene that showed sort of an arc where my character then has like a whiskey contest with Henry Golding, and Hamish, he didn't have to do this, but at the after party, at the screening, he apologized because that scene did get cut. So it's just one nice moment in this really fun, quirky film.
If it, well, now I want to see that scene. Now I want to see the cut scene more than anything.
Yeah, well, as soon as it's available, I will get better at posting, and I will post that scene.
There you go.
Immediately.
Yes.
I'm really fat. I'm fat in it. I'm super fat.
Stop.
No, you'll see it. You're like, oh, Derek's right. Where
else can people see all different sizes of you in photo? What social media?
Stand-up magician. That's everything. Stand-up magician on Insta, on TikTok, on Snapchat. And standupmagician.com is my website. If anybody's interested, please join my email list, and I'll let you know when I'm playing. My calendar is there listed on the site, and a couple of clips from America's Got Talent.
That little thing.
Yeah. I had to pull my clip of, I had a clip from Ellen, but Jason Sudeikis was the guest host, and he's the reason I did it. He's super supportive and into magic. But the trick is about his guest that day was his then fiance, and they've since split.
Oh,
And the whole trick was around.
wild.
We don't have to say we don't speak Voldemort here.
In the wild is what I was saying. You filmed that in the wild. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, so I was bummed, I was bummed because the whole trick I designed, I called him up and I was like, "Hey, do you think I could use her engagement ring? You think she'd let me use that without her being in on it?" And he's like, "I think she'd be
I've
cool
seen
with
this.
it." And the whole trick is about marriage and proposal, and so useless,
Was that in the vows to death do us part? Who gets the the video of the magic?
It's just a bummer, because they have two beautiful kids, and if you were to see that episode of Ellen, to watch him interview her, you just see so much love, and relationships are hard though, man,
Hey,
as we know, right?
divorced, remarried,
Nothing harder.
right here, brother.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. But there's other clips, linked on the site, and
We'll keep an eye out for those.
yeah, man.
Thank you, Derek. People come out to Acme, and if you're seeing this in time, come up to Acme and see the shows this weekend.
I would love it.
Please.
I'd love to see everybody.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Derek puts on an awesome show. It's funny. Your mind will be blown. It's really fun.
And we got Max Chapman and we got Mo featuring, and it's a good week too. It's a good show.
Hell yeah. I haven't seen Mo in forever.
Yeah, he's been living in New York. He came back
Awesome.
just to spend the week with us.
God, come see Mo. Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. Thanks, Derek.
Thanks, Justin.